Could this be the cheapest, best mirrorless camera with interchangeable lenses, in-body stabilization, with the longer record limit, clean HDMI out that can record 4K 1080p for church live streaming and recordings in 2021? What's up guys, my name is Sam from Live Production Tips and Tools and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm very excited because I'll be unboxing a $350 camera that I got from eBay, and that's the Lumix GX85. Yes, it's the Lumix GX, not the G. See, GX85, which is different from the G85, which is a mirrorless camera that uses a micro four third sensor like the GH5 or the G7 or the G85, and has in-body stabilization. So this amazing little tiny camera may surprise you. So would this be a camera that can be used in your church live streaming and recordings? Well, without taking much time, let's get right into it and start the unboxing. Then after that, we'll do a quick review, go through some of the footage that I took with it, and you'll be able to decide. This box is kind of old, so I got this camera from eBay. If you're trying to buy it new, you may spend something around $800 or $900 on Amazon. So it's pretty kind of expensive if you try to buy new, okay? But there's so many of these on eBay that you can find around $300, $350, $400 max. Mine only came as just a body, okay? So I really didn't need those lenses that come with the kit. So as I said in the beginning, the camera can record in 4K video, in 4K. It has a clean HDMI out, which is a good thing for church live streaming. It has a record limit of 29 minutes or around 30 minutes record limit if you're recording in full HD, or until, depending on the card you use, when you reach 4 gigabytes of size in file, then the camera is going to stop. So you'll have to record again, hit record manually. Other than that, actually in 4K, it kind of doesn't have a record limit, which is a little surprising to me. It records like something like 3 hours or more. Like, you know, it's really longer if you record in 4K. I don't really understand why they decided to do it that way, but that's just the way it is. If you're recording in 4K, you have like almost unlimited recording. So let's go ahead and open the box for you guys to see what's inside. There's nothing much. Of course, the box was opened before. This is just a used camera that I got from eBay, but I thought I would just open it for you guys to see what's in there. So basically, the guy gave me some screen protector. So this isn't something that comes with the camera if you buy it from you know, as like new. So this is something that he threw in for me, and of course the documents, the user guide in there. And as you can see, the camera was used before. Before we get to the camera, he gave me an extra battery as well. So as you can see, it's a Lumix battery, okay? And the strap, so you can see it's already open, okay? And the USB cable. This is actually the USB cable that I use to charge it. So there's no charger. It doesn't come with the any charger. So basically how you charge the batteries, you connect the cable to the camera, and whatever battery that is in the camera will start charging, okay? So that's it. And the rest is just, some foam just to protect it. And the last thing is the camera itself, okay? So as you can see, this is what the camera looks like, okay? And you can see the back, okay? So this is what the camera looks like, So as you can see, the camera is very tiny and small, okay, compared to other cameras. If you compare it to the G7 is a small camera as well, but you can see there's a big difference, okay, in size, okay, you know, the grip and everything, you know, even the size itself. The weight, actually the camera is a little heavier than the G7, okay. Since the video is not about the G7, let's talk about this camera, okay. The first thing, as you can see, let's talk about the top. So it has a hot shoe, normal hot shoe. You can use it to connect a flash. You can take pictures as well, so it can take pictures, no problem. Okay, it has a viewfinder. As you can see here, it has all the dials, 2 dials here. Okay, they want to change different modes, movie, manual, aperture priority, whatever modes you want. Okay, and it has the normal dials that you get to control your exposure. One is here, okay, as you can see, and the other one is here as well. So basically, as you can see, this is your dial for controlling the exposure, and you have the other one here, okay, and this one is close to your shutter button, okay, right here, and you've got this one right here, this dial to change different modes, okay, and you got, yes, of course, the shutter button is here for taking pictures, and your record button is here, okay, and if you go here, the menu control buttons looks like almost like the G7 or G85 kind of thing. You got your ISO, white balance, the menu button here, and yeah, all the functions, play button, display, delete, you know, all the buttons, okay, right here. So it doesn't have a flip out screen like the G85 or the G7, but it does have a flip screen, you know, a tilt screen actually, yeah. So the screen would tilt like this if you're shooting you know, from above, or if you're shooting up high, then you would do this way, you tilt the screen this way to be able to see. Other than that, you can do much with the screen. So say this is not a camera for vlogging, if you are a vlogger, yeah, or if you're shooting by yourself, you need a monitor to kind of monitor while you're shooting. If you can see, if I open here, you've got the USB or charge port, and you've got your HDMI in, your HDMI out port as well. The next thing is your battery door. If you, let's open it. Again, it still has the Lumix door where you can use to pass through a cable for if you're using a dummy battery. But the battery goes in here, as you can see, and the SD card, this is my SD card that I put in, it goes in here as well. So same as the Lumix G7, okay. So let's lock it, and other than that, that's pretty much it for the camera. So one thing that I have to mention, or two things that I have to mention, very important, it does not have an audio jack, okay. So if you want to record interviews with this camera, you're not gonna be able to do it. It has a built-in microphone, which means you can record sound using the built-in microphone. Then if you have some sort of software, you can record the sound externally. Hopefully your church mixer, if it's a digital console, then it will have a way to record sound to an external, let's say to a USB stick or something, okay. Other than that, then you have to buy an external recorder if you want to record interviews with this camera and sync in post-production afterward. So that's one thing to consider. The second thing, it doesn't have obviously a headphone jack, okay. So you know, it makes sense, it doesn't have audio jack. What's the point of having a headphone jack if it doesn't have an audio jack. The good thing that I liked about this camera, and I was so waiting for it, is the fact that the camera has a clean HDMI out. Okay, so basically this camera has a clean HDMI out, which means you can easily use this camera to live stream. Amazing, right? And the good thing, even though the camera is so tiny and small, okay, it has in-body stabilization, which is something the G7 doesn't even have. So that's something that I would say that that is good about this camera. Okay, so even though the camera looks so tiny, I can easily attach any lens. Okay, I can use a Lumix lens, or I can use, like, this is an FD lens that I have adapted to Micro Four Third. As you can see, I can put any lens that I want. See, let me even try a bigger lens just to show you what you can do with this camera. Like, this is a very, very nice body that could do amazing stuff for you. Okay, for $300, guys, you can like buy a huge vintage lens if you want, use with it, but this is like a Canon 200mm lens, and as you can see, I have adapted it with my Metabones adapter, you know, but as you can see, it fits no problem. Look at this, you know. Of course, it's kind of, you know, it's heavy, so you wouldn't hold the camera, you wouldn't hold the whole set by the camera, so you would have to hold by the lens, you know, to avoid breaking the camera, because obviously the lens is heavier than the body. Okay, so that's why this adapter comes with, as you can see, a mount where you can mount. If you mount this to a tripod, you wouldn't be mounting the camera itself, you'll be mounting the lens or the adapter on the tripod, and this will make it stable. Okay, so again, you can even buy some lens support system, which will be something that I'll be covering in my next video. I'll be talking about the lens support system for cameras like this, because I've been talking about small cameras like Lumix G7, Lumix G85, Lumix, now I'm talking about Lumix GX85. They are all small, tiny, mirrorless cameras. Most of the time you may need bigger lenses, especially if you need some telephoto lenses, you know, in situations where you have a long distance between your media booth and the stage, and you want to use some telephoto to get portrait. And yeah, of course, I'll be doing a video about that and showing you the lens support that I got from Small Rig, and how you can rig something like this and put it on tripod without damaging your camera. So guys, yeah, so this is it. Other than that, let's turn on the camera a little bit. I would say also one of the major issues that I have with the camera is the grip. So you don't really have a nice grip if you shoot handheld. Okay, I've seen some people online, they put like an extender to kind of have a nice better grip. Okay, so you can see, and you have like kind of touching all the buttons at the same time, so like, you know, you may, you know, by accident hit one of the buttons or change your settings. So I would say that's not that's something that you need to be aware of, you know. So if you can see with the card that I have right now, it says 27 minutes. Okay, it's shooting the settings in 30 frames per second. If I go to 4K, okay, as you can see, it says 1 hour and 10 minutes. So this is because I have a card that's kind of like, you know, has a small capacity. I believe if I had a better card, it would be even like 3 hours. So you get longer record time if you're shooting in 4K. Okay, I just don't know why they did that. But other than that, if you're using this camera for, you know, church live streaming, you should have unlimited live streaming with it. I don't know if you had any overheating issues. Again, I just got it, so I'll be testing it out and probably be able to answer some of the questions that you may have. But for recording, it can shoot up to 60 frames per second in full HD. and it can shoot up to 30 frames per second in 4K. Like right now it's in 4K. Yeah, shoot to up to 30 frames per second, so 24 and 30 frames per second in 4K. And it has actually an amazing picture if you're somebody who, you know, sometimes go outside and shoot stuff. If you're buying this for your ministry, not just for church recordings or other things apart from church recordings, then this is going to be even an amazing camera for you. Okay, it's small. You can even use small lenses like this, you know, if you want it to be even lighter, you know, you can always use small lenses like this. It has autofocus. I mean, not the best, you know, it's a Lumix Panasonic autofocus. It's not like the best autofocus, but again, it works. So I would say this camera actually surprised me. Okay, this camera surprised me. I didn't know it was that good for church live streaming and recordings. You know, apart from being good in normal life, you know, like shooting photography, street photography, and, you know, cinematic, producing some good cinematic images. So again, guys, this is just a rough, quick review about this camera. I'm gonna be displaying some of the footage that I took with it in the church environment. As you can see, this is what I was able to record at church with this camera. As you can see, the image looks good. You know, I tried with different lenses in different scenarios. I took some images as well in my home studio, and as you can see, I did a little bit of color grading. As you can see, it's very cinematic. You know, depending on the look that you're going for, you can adapt it to any kind of look that you want. So yeah, so this is it. So should I, if you ask me, do I recommend this camera? Absolutely. For church live streaming and recordings, absolutely. If you're on a budget, instead of buying those Canon X something camcorders, this is a perfect camera for you, especially in 2021. Guys, I have bad experience with camcorders that I know that if you want a good camera that will give you good image for 2021, stop buying camcorders, because I know some people are going to hate me, but good camcorders that will give you good image with all the cinematic features, with blurry backgrounds, being able to change lenses, and, you know, being able to, if it doesn't perform well in low light, be able to go out there and spend $100 or $200, buy a good lens that will actually turn that camera into something very cinematic and with a good low light performance. Then I'll say, you know, to get something like that in camcorders, you need to spend at least, you know, maybe $5,000 or $10,000. Okay, below that, all these camcorders, my friend has like a camcorder, you know, it records 4K. He paid like $3,000, something like that, from Panasonic. I mean, he bought it for our studio and we haven't really been using. We use it once or twice. He says it records 4K, but the fact that you cannot change the lens, you're stuck with the lens that came with it, and most of the time it doesn't perform well in low light. If it's wide angle, you're stuck with wide angle. Yes, sometimes it zooms, but when you zoom, then you introduce a lot of noise. That's why I encourage people to go out there and learn about these small cameras. Mirrorless cameras are offering good features for church live streaming and recordings. And, you know, you can get good looking images with cheap lenses like this, cheap cameras like this, cinematic, good looking images for your, you know, your production. So I encourage you guys and I challenge you to kind of get out of your comfort zone and learn and know how you can get cheap cameras like this with cheap lenses, with vintage lenses. There's so many choices out there that you can explore and come up with a good looking image for your church live streaming and recordings. So guys, this is it. Just a rough review about this camera. I hope I gave you enough information, but stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe, because I'll be doing more videos about this camera, as well as more cameras like the Lumix G85. I've been doing videos about it. I've been doing more. I've been doing videos about the Lumix G7. All that to make sure you have enough information on how to make good live production for your church and your ministry. Again, guys, I thank you so much for watching this video. If you have questions, put it down in the comments. If you are using this camera and it's been working out for you, or you had some issues with it, it would be great to share with the rest of the community, so we know and we are all equipped for better live production for our ministries. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate hanging out with me, and I'll see you on my next video.